Hello, Dippers, and welcome back to Hysteria. I uphold Coach C's promise for this every week through the regular season.
Dude, just stop mentioning Coach C. It's over. He's done.
And now I'm going above and beyond. I brought you the draft special last week, and this week, free agency special. But I can't do any of this without my glorious co-host, Mr. Fletcher Hoig.
Leighton, I was talking to our good buddy Dylan Hartley the other day about comparing generations in sports, and we start talking about greatness and stuff like that. And it's funny because you listen to guys of previous generations, and, that touchdown pass, that game-winning touchdown pass, that window gets a little tighter, that catch gets a little better. And then, in basketball, that game-winning shot to win the finals or whatever, all of a sudden there's an extra defender on you. That shot was a little farther back. It turns into the perfect swish. Things change over time, with personal anecdotes. And one thing we came up with, we started talking about Jesse Owens and Tyson Gay. And I'm sure most Dippers know who Jesse Owens is, but Tyson Gay was also an Olympic sprinter. And it's just an empirical fact that Tyson Gay is a better sprinter than Jesse Owens. But I think most people would agree that Jesse Owens is the greater sprinter, though. You look at what he did in the 1936 Olympics, winning all those medals, won the 100-meter dash in a time of social and racial injustice in the United States and in Nazi Germany where the Olympics were being held. I think Jesse Owens is the greater sprinter, but Tyson Gay, clearly better by 0.7 of a second, which is huge in a 100-meter dash. So I just want all my Dippers out there to, take that consideration when comparing greatness and just better talent, in sports. And I think this free agent signing, I thought it was a perfect time to implement that discussion.
Well, that discussion we talked about, possibly on this week's Notice Show, Sauce on the Side. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Saucy Pod. You can listen to us on iTunes, and now we're on Spotify. We are phasing out SoundCloud, and matter of fact, in 4 or 5 weeks, we won't be on SoundCloud anymore. So you're on SoundCloud, so go over to Spotify.
Fucking obsolete.
As always, listen to Sauce on the Side every Monday, Ducks in the Pond every Sunday, and Knuckle Sandwich every Thursday. And now, let's get to it.
Humpday. Who's Hysteria?
A Sauce on the Side production.
So a shit ton has happened in the past week, and not really sure where to start off with, but let's start with the biggest name, best player in the world, LeBron James. Signed a 4-year, $154 million deal with the Lakers. He can opt out after his 3rd season. The Lakers also signed Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Lance Stevenson, JaVale McGee, and Rajon Rondo to all 1-year deals. We talked about him a lot on the show, what he could do this summer. Fletcher, how do you feel about this move?
The LeBron thing, everybody I talk to about it, man, they're like, well, what you pull up all these trades, you sign up all these guys, in free agency so you can compete now. Like, there are a lot of layers to this LeBron thing. You look at smart people, great companies, great stories. Like, there are layers to greatness, and there are a lot of layers in this LeBron signing. And so I'm just going to start with the 4 years. The 4 years, first thing it says is the end is near. He doesn't feel like he can take the bet on himself to do these 1+1 contracts anymore. He's going to load up, get his money, stay locked in. He's still going to be the best player in the league for another year or two at least, but it does show you that the end is near. And another thing it shows, being with Magic Johnson, it shows the trust that LeBron has in Magic Johnson. He wouldn't give, and he did the same thing with Pat Riley, although you could say maybe if he knew then what he knows now, he wouldn't have done that. He would have done the 1+1, but he never gave Dan Gilbert and that horrible group, that front office, the satisfaction of a long-term commitment. So the 4-year shows that the end is near for LeBron. It shows he trusts Rob Pelinka. It shows he trusts Magic Johnson and what they're building towards, in the future. But one thing, that LeBron started when he went to Miami was this: he's joining super teams, he's making super teams, he's taking the easy way out, this and that. Magic Johnson sat down with him on the Saturday before he signed, and they met for 3 hours. And I would almost be willing to bet, he was going to tell him, this is a 2-summer process. It's going to be hard to make things happen. Paul George has already signed with Oklahoma City. We're going to have to give up a lot to get Kawhi Leonard. So what we're going to do is we're going to sign you to a 4-year deal. And what's going to happen over these next 2 summers, the narrative on you is going to change. You're going to be here. You're going to be with this roster that's not ready to win and compete right now. But what it is, guys are going to join you. And that narrative is going to change, that guys are actually deciding to come play with LeBron now. Guys are want to join LeBron, make him a super team, win with him. And that's something that you haven't seen with the Cavaliers or with the Miami Heat. And then the next layer, you have your business ventures. He's got production studios out in L.A. You look at a guy like Magic Johnson. LeBron emulates him on the court a lot and off the court. Magic Johnson, is a part owner of the Dodgers. He has a long line of business ventures himself, one of them being, a chain of movie theaters out in California. A lot of this stuff on and off the court, LeBron is looking to emulate. And what better guy to learn from than Magic Johnson in L.A.? And then another one, his family. They love L.A. His wife loves L.A. He's got 2 mansions out in Brentwood. I'm sure, his family's going to live with him. He's going to bring other family members out there as well. And his son, Bronny, LeBron James Jr., he's going to be coming in 8th grade this year, and then the following year will be in high school. So in California, I would assume more so than Akron, Ohio, you're going to have a tremendous opportunity to get a great education and play at an elite basketball program, sports program in the high school out there. And then the last one, this is going to go along with the narrative because this is a big picture thing. LeBron, I would think most people would agree that he is not going to make the finals this year, let alone win the finals. So what that's going to do is his streak of the finals is going to be over with for sure. He'll be out in the second round or so probably, and maybe the Western Conference Finals. But he's not going to the finals, so he's going to get serious rest this offseason, which is going to make him come out even fresher for the 2018-2019 2019-2020 season.
Yeah.
Well, that's way out there. That sounds weird to say. He's going to have that much more rest. He's going to be that much more ready to go. MJ retired for 2 years, and sure, he played minor league baseball, but when you go from playing 80, well, in MJ's case, almost 100 games a year when you have preseason and postseason, playing 100 games of basketball is a lot harder to do than playing bullshit minor league baseball. So that rest that MJ had really propelled him forward later on in his career, and I think this 1 year where LeBron's not going to make the finals, that's going to be extra rest that he's going to take even further with him.
Yeah, I agree. You talked about some basketball reasons. I believe he moved to L.A. for more non-basketball reasons. They talk about the business ventures and all that than actually basketball reasons. Lakers have brought in a couple players. Carl Pope, I like him. He shot well last season. And they brought in Lance Stevenson, Phil McGee, and Richard Rondo, all 1-year deals.
Oh, yeah.
I know we're not doing 1-year deals so they can go sign all these good players next offseason. But how do you feel about the guys they put around him right now? And will any of them be there past next season, do you think?
No, none of them will be there past next season. I'd be very surprised, but I think LeBron's buying into this whole it's not right now or bust. Like people said, like LeBron's window's closing. Well, no, not really, because with the Lakers, like it literally just opened. He signed a 40-year deal. Like that window is far from being closed. Where do you think the Lakers are going to land next year come playoff time? What's their seed going to be?
Oh, man. Man, I don't know how good the Thunder can be, honestly.
Well, I've already seen that movie play out.
I know, but they can get together. I don't know. I'm going to go 4.
Okay. Yeah. I say a 3 or 4 seed. I think Houston and Golden State are still better than them. LeBron, his first year with the Cavaliers, he made them 18 games better. That year with the Heat, his first year with the Heat, he made them 11 games better. And then his first year back his second stint back with the Cavs, that his first year then, he made them 20 games better. So you take all those, you divide them up, that averages out to about 16 games a year that LeBron will increase your win total. And so the Lakers go from 35 wins with Brandon Ingram and Lonzo Ball, missing a significant amount of time. LeBron, on average, makes a team 16 wins better. So that puts him at 50-51 wins. That's good enough for the 2 seed or the 3 seed right there in the Western Conference. And you let Kuzma, Ingram, Ball all get a year better, presumably better health. I think there's going to be the 3 or the 4 seed.
And our next player was seemingly the guy Lakers were thought to be going after the hardest next after Paul George and Rodgers, obviously. DeMarcus Cousins. Last night, while recording Hustle Inside podcast, came through that he signed a 1-year, $5.3 million deal with the Warriors.
Yep.
It was reported today that teams had enough cap space to sign the bigger deals, but they did not want him in the locker room. And New Orleans offered him a 2-year, $40 million deal at the end of last season that he declined, and they put it off the table. And last night, went to people in the media, people talked about how he signed this, so he can go play in that team construct and reshape his image. And with going to Golden State, who he was back from his Achilles injury, I don't buy that shit at all. Marcus Cousins has been Marcus Cousins now for his entire life. I don't know why he would want to change now. I think he is tired of losing all the time, but like to win once.
Mm-hmm.
So, Fletcher, I ask you, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was going to say this at the start of the LeBron topic when we were, discussing him with the Lakers. But then when I saw Boogie signed, I decided this would be more fitting. I went to social media last night just to look at everybody's overreaction to it and see everybody, just fly off the charts over it. And it was funny. So before I start talking about Boogie, what I'm going to need everybody to do who's listening is just pause the podcast for a second. If you're driving in your car, if you're sitting in your house, if you're working out, just pause it. Listen to the noises around you for like 5 seconds and relax for a second. Just listen to the noises around you.
If you're driving, you turn the volume down. Don't look at your phone while you're driving.
And just turn it down for a second. Listen to the noises around you. Relax, be present for a second. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Boogie now that everybody's relaxed, okay? First things first with the Pelicans, apparently it surfaced today that the Pelicans offered him a 2-year, $40 million deal. I'm a firm believer that stories get out when someone wants them out. And so once Boogie signed for the mid-level exception for 1 year, the Pelicans are like, son of a bitch, Not only does that look bad about Boogie, that could backfire on us at some point for not wanting to pay him when we just went out and got Julius Randle. Granted, it was for $9 million a year and not the max. But so they thought, well, we can cover our own ass and we can make Boogie look bad at the same time, so it's more on him and not us. So we'll just leak the story that we offered him a 2-year, $40 million extension. They very well could have, but at the same time, the story got leaked because the Pelicans wanted it to. It created a better narrative for them. So let's think about this for a second. When the story broke, apparently Boogie had no offers. They didn't want to give him the max contract. They didn't want him for all those years. They didn't want his locker room woes, problems, I guess. And so if Boogie is forced to sign for the mid-level exception like he was evidently, why would you not want to go to the Warriors or the Celtics, which were the two teams he was eyeing? If you're looking at a mid-level exception, you're sure as fuck not going to go to, I don't know, some fucking shitty team. Yeah, you're
Lakers.
Well, no, they would make sense to some extent. I was thinking maybe like a lottery team. Yeah, you're not going to go to some shitty fucking team. So go somewhere and win. That makes sense. But, you talked about it a little bit. Boogie's taking a chance on himself. He's wanting to prove himself. He's wanting to prove that he can assimilate into a winning team, take less of a responsibility, handle not getting the ball as much, not pumping those numbers up like he's used to. He also wants to show that he's mature enough to play in a winning organization, a winning culture around other star players, and he's wanting to prove that he's healthy. Where I view this as the most, though, I view it as Boogie was, a 25-12 guy getting a block and a half or whatever a game. He got no offers, evidently, to play, get a max contract and go play somewhere. So at that point, if an emotional Boogie is not getting these offers he's expecting, he's going to go do something out of spite to show everybody, fuck you. You should have paid me. You should have offered me a deal. Now I'm going to go play with the Warriors, and I'm just going to try to wreck the league even more than it already has been. So I think that last note that I made, that's the one I think describes Boogie the most. All of the deal, the no offers, and the mid-level exception, playing for a winner, and proving himself. I think those are definitely aspects he considered. But I would say a good 85% of it was him saying, "Fuck you, I'll just go to the Warriors, and you can sit on that one."
Yeah, Boogie's a fraud. It's really upsetting because Boogie's my second favorite player ever, and now I don't really want to cheer for him. Boogie signed the Warriors, creating the newest evil empire in sports. Fletcher, what are they going to look like this year?
Well, the thing is, Boogie's not going to come back until January because of his Achilles injury. And even then, he's going to be on a minutes restriction. I'm sure he is going to work his way up, and you would assume that's going to take roughly a month, 3 weeks to get to where they trust him playing 35 minutes a game, or more, if that ever even happens. And then on top of that, even when he gets to full playing time, he's still going to have to truly assimilate and be a part of the Warriors' offense. So who knows how long that could take. I don't think during the regular season a whole lot's going to happen with the Warriors differently than what we've seen in the past. I think once the playoffs come around, if Boogie is healthy and ready to go, I think at that point, you might see some domination, especially in the first and second rounds of the playoffs. But, a locker room of Draymond Green, DeMarcus Cousins, and even Durant, getting these kind of rabbit ears, getting technical fouls, all of a sudden being a tough guy, that could be a volatile situation in a locker room, especially when we see, Steve Kerr get so emotional with referees and stuff. Who's to say it couldn't slip and happen to an emotional player like DeMarcus Cousins? Everybody understands that when Draymond Green does something, it's calculated and he's smart about it when it comes to getting a technical or a flagrant or doing something to push the envelope against another team. Boogie, it just happens with him out of, emotional turmoil that he can't handle. So you look at Boogie, KD, Draymond all being in the same locker room. I've talked about it before, the chances of the Warriors signing Clay in the upcoming free agency class. Like those three guys, if they don't win the title and things go bad, that could be the ultimate thing that pushes Klay Thompson away from the Warriors, and it could eventually lead way to him signing with the Lakers.
And a player who could have a big impact, or definitely will have a big impact in that decision, is Kevin Durant, who is expected to sign re-sign with Warriors, but only signed a 1-year deal with a player option after the first season. So a 1-on-1 deal, basically what it is.
Yep.
Why do you think he wanted a 1-year deal?
It's obvious in my mind. You've already seen cracks in the Warriors' armor. They were, like I already said it, they were a Chris Paul hamstring injury away from not making it to the finals. You saw Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, miss extended games this past year. Klay Thompson hurt his ankle in the playoffs, and then on top of that, they were last possession, last minute, kind of scenarios against the Cavaliers in games 1 and game 3. I think Kevin Durant understands, this is not a foregone conclusion that we are just that much better than everybody else. And whether he, views himself as a part of it for a reason for them not being, as good as they think they are, I don't know. But basically what he's doing, he's just going to keep his own options open, where if things go bad this year, if Curry gets hurt again, and now Draymond and Boogie and himself, if that doesn't mesh, granted, Boogie's the 1-year deal, but if it leads to coaching problems, front office, turmoil, he's just going to keep his own options open. I don't think he'll sign with the Lakers, but at this point, nothing is off the table for me, especially Boogie signing the mid-level exception. I could see Durant going to the Warriors. I could see him leaving the Warriors. I could see a lot of different things at play. But basically, the 1+1 option that you learned from LeBron James basically means I don't trust 100% this organization. I need to have some control over my own destiny right now, and that's all I'm getting from Kevin Durant with his 1+1 deal.
What do you think eventually happens with the Warriors this season and next off season?
I'm not writing off, chemistry issues. I'm not writing off injury issues. I'm still going to roll with the Celtics. It's going to be the Celtics and the Warriors in the finals. I'm still going to roll with the Celtics winning. They're younger, they're fresher, they're healthier, assuming, Kyrie and Gordon Hayward stay healthy. Gordon Hayward's a pretty freak injury. Kyrie played a decent amount of the season. Steph and Curry could definitely get hurt. Clay, who knows? Draymond could get suspended, have issues there. So could Boogie Cousins. Boogie could just not come back healthy as it is. I think it's going to be the Warriors and the Celtics in the finals, and I'm going to take the Celtics in 7. Ooh. Way too early prediction, but there you go.
All right. And the player that they're talking about being knocked off by the Warriors, Chris Paul. He signed a 4-year, $160 million deal with the Rockets. I hate this deal for the Rockets because they're getting a guy who is injured now, and is getting older, and they have him for 4 years, no options, and paying $40 million a season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in 2023, Chris Paul is really making $40 million, basically all guaranteed.
Yeah, I wouldn't have, and you can judge me all you want, but I would not have given Chris Paul a max contract only because he's playing in fewer games. It seems like he's missing time. He's hurt. You just can't give a guy like that at his age max money. It doesn't work that way. And the thing is, if he's not willing to go to LA with LeBron, which evidently he rumored he didn't want to go to LA, he wanted to stay in Houston. Like, if LeBron doesn't have a perfect fit, Chris Paul sure as fuck doesn't have a perfect fit. So if you're Houston, it's like, where are you really going to go? That's where you're going to win, other than here, or doing a DeMarcus Cousins and taking the mid-level exception. And if you want max money, you're definitely not taking the mid-level exception. So I would have tried to work out a deal where you can maybe say $5 million a year. You can still give him $35 million for 4 or whatever, and see how he responds to that. But I can't give a guy like Chris Paul, as much as I love him, and as much as he would have mattered in the Western Conference Finals if he was healthy, a dude who's only getting older. Like, there are no. When you play pickup basketball, you'll tell people run it back because you want to play him again. There is no such thing as running it back in the NBA because everybody gets a year older and you don't get healthier as you get older.
Yeah, I agree. I said last night on the Side podcast that I would not give Chris Paul a contract because he's old and injured, and his career just having to get done because of those things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about a player, probably the most surprising sign so far to most people. Paul George signed a 4-year, $137 million deal to stay in OKC and play with us. He can opt out after the second season. How do you feel about this move for Paul George? I'm kind of indifferent about it.
I think he can opt out after his third year, so I think it's the fourth year in his contract where it's the player option. And I get why he did it. He can opt out of that last year of his contract and sign another supermax, and he can make north of $284 million. So for Paul George, in my opinion, it came down to two things: money. And then on top of that, he was just scared, because you go to LeBron and you play with LeBron, you're going to play at the highest level for a number of years in a row. And playing at the highest level there is in professional sports, there comes pressure with that, and there comes blame with that, where LeBron takes plenty of blame, but guys around him do too, and that's because he elevates you to a different standard yourself. And when you get elevated to that standard, the criticism is real. And so if you're a professional athlete playing at the highest level and that criticism, you don't want to play with the chance of having that criticism or experiencing it, that shows how much you're scared. And so he got a free ride from a lot of people's eyes when he was in Oklahoma City. He played shitty throughout the playoffs and somehow still earned the nickname P, or Playoff P rather. Most people blame Westbrook for the last 2 games because he shot 100,000 times in 2 games.
Turnovers in 2 games.
Yeah, so I think, in my opinion, he took the money and he took the easy way out where people will talk better about him, which ultimately made him feel better and his ego feel better. So to me, he took the money and he's scared.
Yeah, see, I'm indifferent about the move because at first I thought maybe he just likes playing OKC and likes the guys in the locker room. But
he likes going to eat at Applebee's every Saturday.
But then last time, tossing aside, Jake brought the point you did. I'm kind of leaning more that way now, and kind of maybe, I don't know, Paul George is kind of a little bitch now in my mind.
I mean, if you're scared of being criticized and you're scared of being at playing at the highest level there is in professional sports for your respective sport, like, you got no business playing, man. Like, I wouldn't even want you as my teammate if you were scared of getting criticized. That's just me personally. I think that's a lot of professional athletes. So I think he took the easy way out. We'll see.
Back to the contract. It's a 2-year option. You have to take it in a year. And then after that, he can sign a 7-year, $290 million contract.
Yeah, he's gonna make a lot of money. Hats off to him for making his money. I can't knock him for that, but I can knock him for, being afraid to play with LeBron, being afraid to. It seemed like he wants the recognition without the blame. Like in Oklahoma City, he's obviously the second fiddle. In LA, man, it's you could be behind LeBron and then Kawhi Leonard surface, so you're playing behind Kawhi Leonard, and everybody knows this is gonna be Magic and Kobe City before anything. Like, I just felt like he felt the criticism was going to be too much and he wasn't going to get the recognition he wanted. And so that's what led him to stay in Oklahoma City. He got no blame, and he's a clear second fiddle.
So you could have just said bitch, and that would have said enough.
He is a little scared bitch. I agree.
Somebody who was a scared bitch 3 years ago, no longer is, DeAndre Jordan. Signed a 1 year, $24 million contract with Dallas Mavericks. I love it still for both parties. My favorite signing of the offseason so far. Because now the Mavericks can go in there and say, okay, we'll see how this whole Dennis Smith, Doncic, Jordan thing works this first year. If it looks good, we'll sign for a longer deal. They'll go get another good free agent next summer and possibly compete. So I love it for that reason for them. For DeAndre Jordan, let him decide. He could get some flexibility, let him decide what to stay or not. So Fletcher, how you feel about the deal for DeAndre?
It's a good deal. I think he's 30 or about to be 30. So that was the 1 year deal. I wanted to come in, when dudes age, they age overnight. I mean, in a span of, 18 months, maybe 16 months, I don't know. I went from having beautiful long hair to finding strands of hair in between my fingers in the shower. So you age overnight, man, and it happens quick. So the 1 year deal made sense for Dallas because he is getting a little older. But then on top of that, he was going to make roughly the same amount, just a little less, I think, with LA before his contract expired. So it made sense both ways. I think Dallas is going to have a much better team than the Clippers this year. I love the direction Dallas is moving because Mark Cuban is not a guy who wants to tank often or at all. And I think getting Doncic, you get a bona fide guy who's going to be a star. You couple that with a guy who's going to contribute to winning right away. I like the direction they're going. I like it a lot. I like the signing.
I'll talk about the Clippers just real quick too because they knew he was probably going to opt out after they traded Blake Griffin at the trade deadline this past season. Three balls moved up between DeAndre Jordan, and it's another move that didn't pay off. And we're seeing this more often in sports now. Teams don't want to trade a guy hoping they can re-sign him, or don't trade for a guy hoping they can sign him. And the last two guys, Paul George and the Lakers, DeAndre Jordan and the Clippers. So how do you feel the Clippers are going to do from here?
I think what made me think that the Clippers were seriously going to go out and target LeBron way more than what they did, because apparently not at all, was the fact that they kept DeAndre Jordan. They were going to have money and picks to move around to get guys around LeBron and then still have enough money to bring LeBron in. And I think their whole thing just kind of backfired on them. They had nothing left. They lost DeAndre Jordan for nothing. So I think that's all that. I called that they were going to do a sign and trade with Houston, Wesley Matthews. It made sense money-wise, positionally-wise, the way the trade went. But I think someone within the Clippers organization got wind that DeAndre Jordan was out. So they were like, we just drafted Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. We just drafted Jerome Robinson. We like them a lot. Let's just go ahead and trade Austin Rivers, who's really not that good, for a center who's serviceable and
cheaper.
Yeah, so I think that's the route they went with there. Once they realized we're not going to go after LeBron, or we have no chance of LeBron. One of those two happened, and they were like, contingency plan time. Let's see what we can do.
Do you know why they didn't go hard after LeBron?
Because they're fucking stupid.
Because they knew he was going to be a Clipper.
Yeah, because the Clippers are a bad franchise. Is that what you're telling me?
Yep.
And the Cavaliers and Miami Heat were legendary before LeBron, so.
Until next signing. This one is as big of a deal, but it's a team-friendly deal, so it's kind of interesting. And it's long. Aaron Gordon signed a 4-year, $82 million deal with the Magic. I think maybe he just likes being in Orlando, likes that locker room, and thinks with Jonathan Isaac, he just got some Mo Bamba, thinks maybe they could possibly compete or be something in the East in a few seasons from now. Fletcher, how do you feel about just this deal overall?
It fucking pisses me off because, I read that he was going to that the Pacers were going to pursue him, and I'm like, realistically for the Pacers, getting a guy like Aaron Gordon who defends well, finishes above the rim, no fucking problem. I think I said defends, gets to the basket, drives. If he learns how to shoot the spot up three from the corner, man, him and Miles Turner, realistically, that's as good as a fucking front court that the Pacers are going to get, since the David West, Roy Hibbert fucking era when Roy Hibbert still had a pair of nuts on him. So I was really hoping for that. We were going to be good defensively. We were going to be athletic. We could do a lot of things in the front court. And I think what happened with Aaron Gordon, no, he does not want to be in that fucking locker room. That fucking team in Orlando is shit. The front court's loaded. They just fired their coach again. You know, I think what had happened is, like, he realized that no matter what, Orlando was going to sign his ass back. And he's like, why even bother fucking signing with a team like the Pacers or somebody else when I can get the most money with the Magic because they're going to sign me anyway because they're just going to match an offer sheet that somebody gives me. So I'm just going to re-up with the Magic for the max and get my money and just say fuck it. Can't blame him. He was trapped anyway, you know, kind of like the NFL.
But couldn't he just sign a 1-year deal with another team and then have the Magic pick it up and then next year be unrestricted?
I guess he could have, but at the same time, you know, not many guys are willing to roll the dice on themselves. What if he tears his ACL? You know, look at Boogie. He's a bona fide star. Tore his Achilles. Didn't get one offer, apparently.
Yeah, evidently not.
So you look at guys, take some balls to gamble on yourself. You know, LeBron, he's one of the few guys who can do it. Durant, guys who do those 1+1 year deals, you know, you are hats off to you for believing in yourself and hats off to you for making it work. But, man, that's a gamble for a younger player like that who hasn't built up that kind of profile and wealth yet. So,
yeah, but he's only 24 years old, so plenty of time for him.
Yeah, because, I mean, when it's done, he's going to be 28. He's going to be right in the middle of his prime or what would be his prime.
Before we move on to the few big names that haven't signed yet, is there any sign we haven't talked about that you'd like to talk about?
I would like to talk about Tyreek Evans.
25, 5-5 guy?
No, not quite that. I'll tell you what. You know, I played 2K a fuckload, and I know you played a lot too. I haven't seen Tyreek Evans have a 3-point rating that doesn't range somewhere from a D+ to a C+.
Yep.
But listen to this 3-point percentage that he's been putting up since 2015. 2015, 38. 2016, 35. 2016, it took a dip to 30%. 2016, or no, I'm sorry, he had a stint with two different teams there, it looks like. So in his second stint in 2016, he shot fucking 43%. This last year, he shot 39% from three, and that's boosted him all the way up to being a 32% career 3-point shooter.
How many do you shoot a game, though?
It doesn't matter if you're efficient.
But if it's like one, then
so
he's
you're making your ones that you should.
Then he's wide open.
So, anyway, he's a guy who can handle the ball. He's 6'6". He's strong. You know, he's 230 pounds. If he can handle shooting a spot up three occasionally, I like him better than I like Lance Stevenson. And I was pretty upset that they, you know, signed or let Lance Stevenson go. The thing is, the Pacers next year, they're going to have a lot of dudes come off the books. Tyreek Evans off the books. Thad Young. I think Darren Collison, maybe even Corey Joseph. I can't keep track of all the contracts, but we're going to have a lot of cap space next year. So I'm looking forward to that. But I enjoy the Tyreek Evans signing.
Talked about what player think you're going to target next off season.
I don't know, man. I don't have a list of the free agent guys off the top of my head. It would be cool to sign a guy like Klay Thompson and put him at the 3. Not going to fucking happen, but, you know, It's a good thought to have.
And, you know, last year, Tyreek Evans, he shot 39%, so 5.5 threes a game. So not bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, 2.2 and attempting 5.5 a game. So, yeah, I'll gladly take it.
Now for players who haven't signed yet. The biggest one left is Clint Capella. He was, as you know, he was vital to Rockets' success last season. He was restricted free agent, so Houston can match any offer they get. He met the Lakers yesterday. I think Houston is guaranteed to match any offer that a team will give Clint Capella, along with a reason for them, or just sign him using bird rights. Is there any way that Houston can afford to let him walk away?
I don't know what Houston's cap space is like because they just ate up a shitload with Chris Paul. You know, You guys fucking bring me onto this show and you ask me to call the draft and you ask me to make predictions in free agency, and sometimes I'm right, but this is hard shit to call. Initially, I thought when Houston was loaded, LA has met with Clint Capella once or twice in this free agency period. When they signed Stevenson, Rondo, and McGee, I'm thinking like we're gearing up for a sign-and trade maybe. But they signed Michael Carter Williams today. I say they, the Rockets. So I don't know what's going to happen. Clint Capella might do a sign-and trade. He might stay with Houston. Fuck, who knows what's going to happen.
So if he does leave Houston, Houston has what to do? What can they possibly do if he leaves?
Roll Nene out there at center and give Ryan
Anderson.
I almost said Ryan Howard. I was thinking about The Office. Give Ryan Anderson some minutes at the backup center. Try to do what the Cavaliers did with Kevin Love this year. Some points, putting him at the 5. you're I don't know, man. You miss Clint Capella. You're not gonna, your ship's not gonna sink. But at the same time, you're gonna be missing a whole lot. You're gonna be missing a double guy, a rim runner guy, a rim protection guy. So,
yeah, I mean, the whole league is already fucked. I think Houston's double fucked if they lose Clint Capella.
well, especially you're fucked because you're paying Chris Paul $40 million. And if you have that extra $5 million, you might be able to maneuver things a little differently. You had to let Trevor Ariza go, so that sucks. But I think Houston shelled out money, and man, you can't be stretched too thin like that. So
Yeah, I just can't believe that Chris Paul did for Houston. I can't believe a NBA GM would give somebody that, or give him that.
So before we move on, I just want to talk about the NBA rumor mill real quick. I'm sure you saw the Lakers signed Lance Stevenson and then Rondo. I mean, they're all 1-year deals, sure. But now Magic Johnson's come out and said, that starting point guard position is open for competition. And I'm sure you saw, a week or so before free agency started that Lonzo Ball was going to have, he had some fluid taken in or out of his knee. I'm assuming out of it. You don't think you want to put fucking fluid in your knee, but I had some fluid. Plasma shot, that's what it was. He had a plasma shot, and now he's got a meniscus injury that's going to require some surgery. He'll be ready to go for training camp. The guys who I lean on when they talk about the Lakers, beat reporters for the Lakers, what the Lakers are suggesting now is that Lonzo Ball and his group put out that he's injured so that he could not be traded in that offseason, because you can't technically trade players in the NBA when you're injured. So Lonzo Ball basically secured himself from being traded to the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard by saying, I'm hurt. I don't know if that's true or not. Just something to consider.
Yeah. And a few times now on this show, you've said, you talk about source letting something out, and you believe that sources want to get out. That's how it gets out. I was a journalism major in college, and it's well known that just is the truth, because how do people get sources? People want to get things out there. So
yeah, people let things go for a reason.
Yep. On to our last player we'll talk about tonight, Zach LaVine. Restricted free agent, traded from Minnesota to the Bulls last season. I think the Bulls should definitely look to be signing. He probably won't be that expensive. Fletcher, do you think he'll be a Bull next season?
Yeah, if you're the Bulls, you might as well fucking sign him. If you're going to make some fucking stupid-ass, dumbass pick like Wendell Carter Jr. and not take Kevin Knox, another guy who can shoot and dribble, fuck it, you might as well just go ahead and take or you might as well just bring Zach LaVine back. It's not like, you took a guy who's going to fucking move the dial for you a whole lot anyway, so might as well keep him.
Yeah, true. I hate the draft, so might as well keep Zach LaVine and see what happens with him. And now it's time for Fletcher on the Fly. This is a segment every week where I ask Fletcher 3 questions, and he has to answer them on top of his head, with no time to prepare for them. This week we're doing NBA futures. Which team that missed the playoffs last year, after the free agency period, is most likely to make it next season, besides the Lakers?
Fuck. Man, that's a good question. The fucking Mavericks, they bring in, a defensive machine, all-star caliber center. They draft a guy who I think is going to come in and average at least 15, 5, and 5 his first year in Luka Doncic. I'll roll the dice and say the Mavericks. I could be wrong, but I think they've had a pretty impressive offseason compared to other teams who didn't make the playoffs.
All right. Next question. Talk about earlier how you're a Pacers fan, and talk about the Tyreek Evans trade. Will the Pacers be a top 3 seed next season?
Man, they got their work cut out for them. Because Boston, they're going to be the 1 seed. They're going to run away with it. Philly, they were the 3 seed this year. If it wasn't for the Cavs, we would have had the 4 seed, and we were back and forth between the Sixers down the stretch. If they hadn't had that 16-game winning streak or whatever it was, we could have been a top 4 seed. You look at Toronto, too, though. LeBron's leaving. Toronto could have some unwarranted feelings of self-entitlement that could lead to confidence somehow. 3's going to be hard. I would pencil us in for the 4 seed. I think until the Bucks trade for Dennis Schroeder or something like that, I think we're still better than the Bucks. So 3 seed, no. 4 seed, yeah.
So you think there'll be a 4 seed next season?
Oh, I think it's realistic to think that.
I think it too. I mean, yeah, it's pretty logical to think that can they with the 5 seed now LeBron left.
Yep.
And our last question: which star player most likely to be traded during this visit period, other than Kawhi Leonard?
Who's most likely to get traded? Yeah, that's a good question. Apparently, Jimmy Butler has surfaced saying he doesn't like it in Minnesota. The players are too fucking much like a baby or something.
Too nonchalant.
Nonchalant, what the fuck ever. If it wasn't Thibodeau there, if it was somebody else, I would say maybe Tibbs would trade him. I don't think that will happen. Man, at this point, I don't know of any stars that are going to be traded because it's pretty much you shit the bed and tank, or it's an arms race, you know. And the teams that have stars right now are in it to win it. Maybe Lowry and DeRozan get moved at some point if they're not, if they're not where they think they are. They just fired their head coach. I don't know. It's a flux. You can go ahead.
This might be broad on this word stars, but I feel like Kemba Walker, one of the guys on 1-year deals for next season.
I mean, he was an all-star, so he could definitely be traded, especially being an expiring contract. Teams like that when they're making the playoff push because, even if it is a rental, if you win a little bit, hopefully you can get him to stay.
But you don't think any player will be traded this offseason?
No, I don't. I think everybody wants to see where their teams are going to shake out a few months into the season at least before they start jumping ship or dumping players for assets. So,
all right, and that's what's on the fly. And we'll move on to our final topic on today's episode: Kawhi Leonard. His camp intentionally leaked the story that he wants to go to LA next season. They also intentionally leaked the story that he will only sign with LA if he traded to another team. So, with that most likely being very, very true, should any team try to trade for him and hope they can change his mind?
If you're going to trade for Kawhi Leonard and you're not the Lakers, you better pull a trade off for him like now. Figure out what LA's giving, offer something a little better than that, and try to talk to Spurs into doing it. Because if you trade for him at the deadline, that is not enough time to get a dude to come in there like your front office, like your coaches, like your teammates. You got to come in, get him in early, get him accustomed to everything that's going on, develop those relationships, build those bonds. Paul George had the same thing last year, and granted, there was no LeBron James when he was there when he signed. The Thunder got him in there. Russell Westbrook finally recruited a guy, had a party for him, talked to him all year, and basically they just got him in and never let him go. And if you're going to try to get Kawhi Leonard, you have to do some kind of similar route to that. I think the Lakers would be smart to wait until the deadline, just because at that point they could say, look, the motherfucker's coming to us now no matter what. We'll give you fucking, I don't know, some motherfucker in a pick or something. And they're like, okay, we'll take it because it's better than nothing because we're going to lose him anyway. So if you're Philly, if you're Boston, don't wait till the deadline unless you can get him for absolutely dirt cheap at that point and just say, like, yeah, we know he's a rental and we're still not going to give up that much, so it's not a big deal. At that point, yeah, but if you're going to seriously trade for him and hope to want to keep him, you better do it now, get him in-house, make him buy in early.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think a team in LA will trade for him before season starts or before trade deadline?
No. I don't, because the fucking asking price. The Spurs apparently told the Lakers, like, we want Kuzma, Ingram, and 3 first-round picks, and the Lakers are basically like, well, you can fucking get lost because that's not going to happen. We're not going to give up the farm for a dude who's going to want to come here anyway. When you have a guy like Magic Johnson in your front office who can get a meeting with a lot of players and can convince a lot of players, and then you have a guy like LeBron James on the court who's going to make you better and carry a team, like, you have the best of both worlds. You have that star in the front office who can get guys. You have that star on the court who can get guys. I don't know if we've ever seen a combination like this in the NBA. I wish it happened way sooner than what is happening now.
So, let's say you're the Lakers right now, and you do want to get him so you can help start building the chemistry up and just be full go all season with this guy, what would you give up knowing that he's probably going to come to you next offseason? Or is it even worth trading for him right now knowing that?
I would give up Ingram, and I would give up a first-round pick. But at the same time, I tell him, like, we're giving you two viable assets, two very valuable assets. We're giving you a 6'10 forward who can shoot the ball, dribble the ball, defend, rebound. We're giving you a one valuable fucking player, and we're giving you a pick. If we do that, you got to take Luol Deng. Like, that's just got to be a part of it. You got to take Luol Deng. We can't be giving up assets and then still keep the bad contract. It's just not going to work that way. You can do that deal, or you can watch him come to us for nothing, and we keep Brandon Ingram and that pick. That's what I would tell him. And if that pisses them off, and they don't want to do a deal with you out of spite just because you triggered them, that's their fucking loss.
So now they flip the coin over, and now you're the Spurs. What do you do? Do you hold on to him now? Because it's been reported that he will sit out, or I thought about sitting out, if not traded. So if you're the Spurs, if you don't play half the season, you're going to get a whole lot less for him than if you played the whole season for someone else.
Right. Well, when you do what I'm about to say, like, you lose leverage, but you've already lost your leverage in this deal anyway based on what's happened. I would just reach out to every team, fill out to every team saying, what's your offer for Kawhi? Figure out the best one. If it's the Lakers, so be it. If it's the Philadelphia 76ers, so be it. The thing is, like, trading Kawhi Leonard, it's kind of like having a really smart, intelligent girlfriend. Like, if you break up, like, she's going to go on and be fine. She's probably going to go on and have some kind of career and a family. You can't just be paralyzed by the thought that your ex-girlfriend could be having success without you. You got to move on and do what's best for you. That's the kind of mindset the Spurs need to take. They're being very petty, being very, very spiteful. Popovich is kind of pissed off, I think, that, a player's turning his back on him so hard, and now to get him back, he's just playing difficult, sending him to shitty places. So that's my opinion.
What do you think ultimately happens?
I think he gets dealt to the Lakers at the deadline for something cheap, and then the Lakers might make a run of the 2 seed, make it to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think any point in trading for him right now. I'd trade for him at the deadline as well.
Yep.
Well, Dippers, this has been the Free Agency Special on Hysteria. Probably our last show for quite a while, unless something just astronomical happens.
At least till the end of free agency, and actually, real quick before we let everybody go, I want to give a quick shout out to Andrew Shoup and Dalton Quinlan. They're two big listeners out in Colorado. They're referred to the show by our boy Stark. So shout out to those two guys. Shout out to Stark. Keep listening.
I got things listening. Stark, keep grinding for the squad. As always, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at the Saucy Pod. Let's just talk to the side on Monday, Ducks in the Pond on Sunday, Knuckle Sandwich on Thursday. From Layton, from Fletcher. As always, stay saucy.